then it was martial arts. That was the age of yellow pages. Nowadays, most search are what's termed long tail keywords. So they're searching for kids' martial arts lessons close to Briarwood Village in Lakeland, Florida, right? So you've got geographic delimiters, you have who it's for delimiter or keywords, and you have what they're looking for. In other words, they're not looking for a dance school, they're looking for, martial arts. So you want to make sure throughout your site that there's sections that address the most commonly searched keywords. The way to do that is through blogging or blog posts. And I hear this argument a lot. Master Moody and I have this argument a lot. My take on it is there's no such thing as having too much good content on your website. I just want to make sure that it's not AI slop, meaning you just tell AI write a bunch of blog posts about what's good about martial arts lessons. It needs to be drawn from your own words, your own literature, your own phrasing. And even if you have Claude or ChatGPT or something organized and edited, if it's drawn from video transcripts, drawn from student handouts, drawn from Matt chats, etc., then it's personalized in your voice rather than it's just you tell it to go write up good things about martial arts. And when the current AI systems, if you do that, it's going to give you slop, and it's also going to look like what everybody else has done if they've done any of that kind of stuff. You want to avoid that, and you'll in all likelihood, high probability get penalized for stuff like that. But so one thing is lots of blog posts, meaning just you're writing up 500 words or 750 words or 2,500 words on a subject, and every week at least one. And when it's me trying to optimize a site, oftentimes I'll do 5 or 7 a day. And somebody like Master Media will argue with me and say, well, it's just going to think it's all AI generated. It's like, no, if it's personal, directed, and on target, and not just AI generated, but it's coming from our own material, I think that's fine. But Joe, so the thing that gets to be time consuming is putting up lots of original content, because Google does prioritize original content, and Google wants that original content to be specific to the keywords somebody is going to search for. And already in the conversation, you can see how this can become like a huge time suck, right? Is you can end up spending a bunch of time sitting at a computer writing stuff up and not be talking to the principal of an elementary school that has 750 kids. So you want to be careful about that. The other thing that Google prioritizes, and it's where the whole name of their search algorithm came from, PageRank, it was Page, the co-founder, not Page as an HTML page. But what you want to do is you want to get lots of backlinks, meaning other sites pointing at your website. Now, when you're a martial arts school and you're drawing from a 3 or a 5 mile radius, there's not a lot that you're going to be able to. It's not like you're going to end up with 10,000 links out there. But you should be listed in all the local directories, whether it's the Chamber of Commerce directory of businesses, Yellow Pages, Index, and so forth still exist. You can be listed in their version of the free listings. But find all the local area business pages, the kids pages, which is a business kids pages, but the local parenting directories, one thing or another. Be posting all of the events that you do, linking back. Be in what is the neighborhood app? It'll come to me in a second, but the local neighborhood app. But get lots of what's that? Nextdoor. Yeah, there you go. And by the way, don't subscribe to. I made the mistake of getting on their list and talk about every whiny, bitchy, 50-year-old housewife who's complaining about the neighbor's cat being in her front yard. You don't want to be reading that crap, but be out there a lot posting and always make sure that there's links to your website. So, you know, Joe, this is the short answer. I'll give you more in the discussion group, but one is make sure your Google business profile is robust, meaning lots of photos, lots of videos, that the address, the phone number, the website, everything is congruent with your website. Number two is get lots of 5-star reviews. Number three is have a robust amount of information on your site that is tied to keywords that people would search for in your local area looking for you. And so you want to get a lot of uh, information up, but you want to make sure that every week there's something new going up into the blog section. So they discount websites were the last thing that was new on the site is 3 years ago, and they prioritize site where there's new stuff every day or new stuff at least every week. Is that helping a little bit, Joe? Joe, you still there? I think we lost Joe.
Yeah, he had a bad
Anyway,
connection, sir.
yeah, yeah. James, is this helping you a little bit, or would you like to go deeper? Is that good? Okay. Um,
That's very helpful, Master Oliver.
yeah, yeah. And again, I've got a 10-page report that'll go up. I always kind of have a book on this subject and sitting on my hard drive. The problem with things like this is it changes so often. If you publish a book on it, it's out of date in a couple of weeks. So, but I'll post a bunch of information in response to Joe's question here when we get off the meeting.
Yeah, Master Oliver.
Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, what's some ways to go about getting these reviews or 5-star reviews from people? Is there anything like when you go over to Folder Conference, give them $25 off on their $25 off, but school box, or $25 off on their down payment if they get you a 5-star review? So how we go about getting more of those?
Well, number one, don't compensate them. And, technically that's against Google's, rules, not that they would ever know. But there's no reason to compensate them. But you're on the right track. Is you do the first intro, the second intro, you finalize the enrollment. Then on the first actual lesson or within the first week, you're sitting down and going through your enrollment folder and you're walking them through the character lessons and so forth. At that time or at the enrollment, you're scheduling for their first progress check in 2 weeks. It would be at that first progress check, if they are super excited, love you, are not frustrated, and are not talking about quitting, that I would ask them if they've had a chance to do a school review yet. And if they say, oh, no, which is going to be 99% of them, I'd say, since we're sitting down right now, would you mind? And I can either have it on a QR code where they can scan it, or I can just text it over to them, the direct link. And I would always start with the Google review. I mean,